A sudden and unprecedented wave of violence has washed over the Middle East. As if out of nowhere, Iran launched a massive aerial assault on Israel, a retaliation of an assumed Israeli strike on its consulate in Damascus. This wasn't a simple attack, but a full-blown onslaught involving over 300 drones and missiles, a scale of aggression that took the international community by surprise. The immediate response from global leaders was a mix of shock and concern. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu was quick to respond, stating with an unwavering resolve that Israel was prepared for any scenario and would not be defeated. In the face of such an unexpected attack, his words echoed with a sense of determination that was both defiant and resolute. Simultaneously, Iran issued a stern warning to the United States. Citing self-defense under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, Iran cautioned against any backing of Israeli retaliation. This was a clear message to the global superpower, a line drawn in the sand, a stance that conveyed Iran's readiness to defend its actions on the international stage. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia, a key player in the region, expressed its concern over the escalating military hostility. The kingdom called for restraint from all parties involved, a plea for reason amidst the chaos, a beacon of diplomacy in a sea of aggression. This unexpected attack, this sudden storm of violence, was more than just an isolated incident. It was a moment that shocked the world, setting the stage for a cascade of events that would reshape the Middle East. However, this attack did not emerge from a vacuum. To fully grasp the gravity of this situation, we need to rewind a bit and delve into the events that set the stage for this dramatic escalation. The tensions between Iran and Israel have been simmering for decades. But the immediate trigger for this attack appears to have been a suspected Israeli strike on Iran's consulate in Damascus. The consulate, a symbol of Iran's diplomatic presence and influence in the region, was reportedly targeted, igniting a spark in an already volatile situation. Iran's reaction to this alleged aggression was swift and decisive. But why such a drastic response? The answer lies in the larger, more complex regional dynamics at play. Iran and Israel, two major powers in the Middle East, have long been locked in a bitter struggle for regional dominance. Each perceives the other's actions as a direct threat to its national security and regional influence. This struggle has often been characterized by covert operations, cyber attacks, and shadowy proxy wars. Yet, the recent attack signifies a marked escalation, a shift from the shadows to the forefront, putting the world on notice of the deep-seated animosity and the lengths to which these nations are willing to go. The international community, already on edge due to the precarious state of global politics, watched in alarm as the tensions escalated. The United States, a key ally of Israel, found itself in a particularly difficult position. Iran's stern warning against backing any Israeli retaliation added another layer of complexity to an already intricate geopolitical puzzle. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia, another significant player in the region, expressed its concern over the military escalation. The kingdom called for restraint from all parties involved, reflecting the widespread fear of a larger conflict that could destabilize the entire Middle East. In this high-stakes chessboard of international relations, each move carries significant implications. As the world watches anxiously, one thing is clear: this is more than a simple tit-for-tat. It's a dangerous game of provocation and retaliation, leading us to the precipice of a larger conflict. The world watches, breath held, as the gears of diplomacy and war grind against each other. This is a stage where every word uttered can tip the scales towards peace or conflict. The international response to Iran's massive aerial attack on Israel has been swift, varied, and fraught with implications for global peace. In the United States, a nation historically allied with Israel, the tensions are palpable. While Iran warns against backing any Israeli retaliation, America must walk a tightrope, balancing its commitments to an ally with the need to prevent further escalation. The stakes are high, and every move is being scrutinized under the global spotlight. The United Nations, the epitome of international diplomacy, faces its own challenge. Iran's invocation of self-defense under Article 51 of the UN Charter puts the organization in a precarious position. The UN must weigh the validity of Iran's claim against the potential consequences of endorsing such a massive retaliatory strike. The decisions made here could set a precedent for future conflicts, making this a critical juncture in global diplomacy. Meanwhile, other major powers observe and respond in their own ways. Saudi Arabia, a regional heavyweight, has expressed concern over the military escalation. Their call for restraint from all parties underlines the widespread fear of this conflict sparking a wider regional war. If that happens, the consequences could be catastrophic, and not just for the Middle East. The international stage is a complex web of alliances, rivalries, and interests. In this volatile situation, every nation must consider not just their position, but the potential ripple effects of their actions. A single misstep could ignite a powder keg of conflict that the world can ill afford. As the world teeters on the brink, each country has a role to play. Each decision carries weight. The actions of a few could determine the fate of many. The world watches, hopes, and waits. As the world teeters on the brink, the actions of a few could determine the fate of many. But why would Iran risk such a drastic action? To comprehend the motivations behind Iran's massive aerial attack on Israel, we need to delve into a set of interconnected elements. At the heart of this conflict lies a suspected Israeli strike on Iran's consulate in Damascus, which Iran perceived as a direct challenge to its sovereignty and regional standing. This attack, if confirmed, served as the immediate trigger, igniting the existing tensions between the two nations. But the roots of this conflict run much deeper. Iran's broader regional ambitions have long been a major factor in its foreign policy. The country has been striving to consolidate its influence across the Middle East, and its rivalry with Israel is a critical part of this larger geopolitical puzzle. By launching a dramatic attack on Israel, Iran is sending a clear message to its regional adversaries, asserting its military capabilities and willingness to defend its interests. Domestic factors also played a key role in shaping Iran's decision. The country's leadership has been facing mounting internal pressure, with economic hardships and political unrest challenging its grip on power. In this context, the attack on Israel can be seen as a strategic move to rally national unity and assert the regime's strength in the face of adversity. Let's not forget the role of international dynamics in this equation. Iran's warning to the United States against backing Israeli retaliation is a clear indication of its attempts to navigate the delicate balance of global power. Citing self-defense under Article 51 of the United Nations Charter, Iran is not only justifying its actions but also challenging the international community to reconsider its stance on the conflict. In conclusion, Iran's attack on Israel is not a spontaneous act of aggression. It's a calculated move driven by a complex web of domestic pressures, regional ambitions, and international dynamics. A complex web of factors pushing Iran towards a path of aggression. The ripples of this attack will be felt far beyond the borders of Iran and Israel. The Middle East, a region already teetering on the edge of instability, could be thrust into a full-blown regional war. This conflict, if escalated, could draw in neighboring countries, each with their own alliances and agendas, creating a web of geopolitical complexity. Beyond the region, the global community will not remain unaffected. As major oil producers, turmoil in Iran and Israel could send shockwaves through the global oil market. Prices could skyrocket, affecting economies worldwide, particularly those heavily reliant on oil imports. Moreover, the attack could potentially shift global alliances. Nations might be forced to choose sides, realigning the international balance of power. This could redefine global politics, creating new alliances while old ones crumble. A single spark can ignite a wildfire, and this attack may just be that spark.